All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome aboard. Welcome to Ready, Set Crypto, our live session here that we call Ready, Set Live. Today is Wednesday, the 3rd of August. We are Doc and Mav of Ready, Set Crypto. Welcome aboard, everybody. Let us know where you're coming in from, and make sure you hit that thumbs up button so you can let the rest of the world know that we have started and we will be talking crypto for the next half hour. So, all right, we got Heinz checking in. Heinz is here from North Carolina. Fantastic. Good to see you, Heinz. Who else is out there? We got Rajith. Hey, what's going on, Rajith? Good to see you. What's going on in your world, Mav?
Oh, just happy to see the market is not completely anemic. Yeah, it is maintained support as best we could hope. So it is still early in the month. Things can still transpire, but I think, this is it's good to see. It's good to see the crypto market's not completely throwing a tantrum.
Well, that goes for all markets right now because all markets are kind of running in tandem right now, which is good. So they all ran together to the downside, and now they're all running together to the upside. So everybody's there's a little bit of a bounce in everybody's step that I've noticed. Let's see who we got. We got Jack coming in from Darwin. We have David coming in from Mexico. We have Nicholas coming in from Venice Beach. Good day, Aussie Slade. How you doing? Mai, welcome aboard. We have a nice hot and humid day here in the southeast of the United States. And we'll get going here in just a minute. We'll be talking crypto, so don't forget, what we do, if you haven't seen one of these before, is usually Mav will kick things off, and he will kind of set the tone for things, and he will provide some comments of wisdom in terms of the overall market. And meanwhile, while he's doing that, what you can do is chat in your ticker symbols that you want to take a look at, and then I'll switch over to the charts. We'll finish out the session. Amsterdam, we got Chris from Cali, and then we'll get you out of here in about half an hour or so. That's usually how long we take. So welcome aboard, everybody. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and we'll get started here in mere seconds. Take it away, Mav.
Alrighty, welcome everyone. Yeah, so before I get to today's stream title as to Doc, what do you think? Crypto investors are the most blank. What's your answer for that?
To me, crypto investors are the most, what's the word for it? I would say herd behavior. More so than any other market that I've seen. Everybody, because if you think about it, it makes sense because most crypto investors have grown up on social media. If they want to know something, they go look it up. And then they implicitly trust what they read online. Well, at least most of the time you implicitly trust what you read online. And then so the same comment has gone over to investing, is that people are just used to asking, like, hey, do you think the price is going to go up or down on this asset? And they're just used to that. Whereas in the old days, none of that was happening and everybody was forced to be kind of on their own. So to me, the crypto investors are the most apt to be social investing.
It's a very interesting take and well said. It's probably, I would very much agree. I think it's very true, as well as chat. Some of your answers are neurotic, as well as privileged investors. Yeah, it is. We'll get to the answer here in a sec, or at least, yeah, again, crypto is still being defined by the day, and certainly crypto investors are also as well. But recently a study was put out that kind of tracked crypto investors and related them to other investor types of other investment classes. So we'll get to that in just a sec. But before we do, I want to direct your attention to ARK Invest. They put out Kathy Wood's fame. They put out a monthly Bitcoin market summary report. And I think it's really, really good. I think if you want to kind of see what's going on in the crypto markets, obviously ARK Invest is known for being a little too bullish, neurotic, if you will, in some ways.
They're just ahead of the curve. That's all. They're just ahead of the curve.
Yeah. So, look, you can say that a broken clock is going to be right two times a day or something like that. But you could also say that, hey, it only takes one right bet as to the future of things to set yourself up for, better things to come. You just have to be right that one time ridiculously well. And as it relates to crypto, ARK has done a pretty good job. They put out some really solid research. They do a really good job, as you can see from kind of market commentary perspective, and it's free. So I would highly recommend adding this to your investment email newsletter quiver, along with, of course, the ReadySetCrypto Omnia newsletter. That goes without saying. But anyways, guys, and by the way, down in the bio below is the links to all of these reports. I went through the sacrifice of signing up my junk email inbox for you guys, so you don't have to commit your email to this. You're welcome. So you can go directly to the PDFs. Anyways, guys, so here we go. Market sentiment. ARK's view is bullish on this, and this is primarily due to the fact that the contagion seems to be somewhat contained at this point. Again, appears and contained are words that sometimes are good, sometimes are about as nebulous as we can hope. But in this case, it is very much the case that at least 3 arrows, it seems like that has been isolated, the contagion from that. That's good because we have things like today where Solana is doing its thing, the wallets being hacked. There's always going to be stuff like that. We just don't want to see this sort of cascading domino effect run away in the space. We do need to clean up the space, yes, but we also don't want to burn down not just the forest, but everything. It really does need a little bit of cleaning up, but we don't want to do a complete tabula rasa, blank slate. So anyways, that's really good to see because that was a big point of fear last month. Also, from the on-chain activity perspective, our dear friend Checkmate over at Glassnode is constantly putting out those, week on-chain reports and other things. And it's the case that from what they're seeing, from what Checkmate is seeing, from what the on-chain analysts of Twitter are seeing, is that for the most part, the market selling has slowed down. Now we're seeing more accumulation, or at least just kind of biding the time by the larger wallets, the older wallets, the thing. So this is a clear turning point, if you will, in terms of the market participants and what we're seeing from on-chain perspective. Lastly, from the macro, yay, we're in a recession, but is it really a recession? That's what everyone's asking right now. I don't have an answer for that. But what I do know is that we are in similar environment, but at the same time, this is something completely new. We've never, at least to my knowledge, had a sort of recessionary environment where the job market is still kind of hanging in there. And yeah, what's happening next? Is this going to be a short recession, long recession? When is the Fed turning bullish? Or sorry, dovish? When are they turning bullish? Hopefully soon. But anyways, yeah, we hope they turn dovish soon as well, so that we can get back to getting out of this quantitative tightening zone. Things will matriculate through the latter half of this year. We'll see where they go. But right now, it's sort of neutral, as ARK puts it. So the only other slide from this, because again, I highly recommend you go through this on your own. I'm zooming in, not moving slides here. Is I would recommend going through, just looking at this. And again, this is just a really good summation of what's going on here, how things are developing the space, what we could see from, coming up in, Adobe, your stuff is awful. What is going on here? And oh my gosh, there we go. It's because I clicked on something. All right, maybe. All eyes on Mac. Yes, this is what I wanted to show, is the sense that the US is growing as a true dominant player in the crypto space. The fact that we can look at statistics like right now, only 0.3% of personal investment wealth is dedicated to crypto, whereas 25% are dedicated to equities. And the fact that in North America, the average holdings by an individual investor as it relates to crypto is about $18,000. We're definitely going to see that trend towards the upper end of that, as we see across the globe as well. But certainly the US is becoming more and more of a power player in the space, as we're starting to see that space sort of mature and move towards a vision of crypto that is a lot more established, a lot more adopted. This is what we want to see. This is the good stuff. This is what paves the way for mass adoption and all the kind of stuff we want to see. And again, this is in contrast to what's going on with the larger economy right now. People need to be seeing crypto as a true alternative investment. Forget that nonsense about it being an inflation hedge or a crisis hedge or anything like that. What we need to see, bar none, is that it provides a solid alternative in some capacity, hopefully for upside. That's a really good narrative we want to solidify. But certainly as hey, gold has not maintained much of its stability hedge kind of safe haven asset aspects. This is something interesting. This is something that possibly can play into crypto's favor. Again, this is all ongoing, but I think we're definitely seeing the right sort of environment play out for maybe not 2022 in particular for sort of a return to the bull, but the conditions are starting to look better. It's still very much the macro is very scary looking at things, but at the same time there are bright spots here and there. Anyways, this goes to a nice segue to what I was talking about at the very beginning as to what crypto investors are, broadly speaking, or at least based off of what this report defines. So if we look at this is a survey of about 5,000 or so crypto investors, and it's really, really interesting. It goes across all these different kind of perspectives of okay, millennials and high income households are continuing to drive cryptocurrency adoption. Cool, kind of already knew that. But crypto is becoming more diverse. We're seeing it broaden out across demographics and generations, and we're just seeing the right sort of just spread of crypto. And what's been really reassuring is that even with this downturn, even with this slowdown in not just the crypto markets, but crypto has had it pretty bad the last couple of months, we still have not seen the overall adoption or just at least people who have dabbled with crypto hasn't dropped below 15%, at least here in the US. It's holding steady above that, which is reassuring to see. It's that, hey, yes, some people got burned. Yes, some people are never coming back to crypto. They're convinced they'll never touch it again. But other people are looking at this as an opportunity. It's we've talked about this in previous streams where it seems counterintuitive, but the lower the market goes, the safer it is. Because naturally it just provides more upside potential. Yes, of course, it can always go to zero. But as we get rid of the tourists and we get rid of the hype beasts and those sort of people, it really takes away a lot of the fluff of the space, so a lot of the externalities that we don't really want to associate with the space to begin with. The sort of crap we saw with the worst parts of NFTs and I don't know, metaverse and stuff like that. That's getting cleaned up, or at least has slowed down in a significant factor. So what that opens the door for is more of just diversification among people in crypto, more people getting into crypto for the first time, all the stuff we want to see. So what's very interesting is that there's usually this narrative that crypto users are these cypherpunk, outlier type people living in mom's basement kind of stuff, and shun all banks and things like that. And there is definitely a piece of that. No disrespect if anyone's living in your mother's basement currently, but what is actually the case, if we look at the data, is that crypto users are actually financial power users more often than not. They're savvy in the sense that they know how to move between asset classes in a way that is advantageous for them, allows them to, be in an environment like we currently are, where things are very uncertain and moving all over the place, and it allows them to kind of hedge their bets or find safe havens, ways that other people are just putting their money away and not paying attention to it. Crypto users, by and large, are just a lot more capable than your typical investor. But that's not my answer for today's title. My answer is that, see if I find it. Yes, crypto users are more optimistic than any other investor class. And I think that's extremely significant, especially after what we've gone through over the last couple of months, especially considering the macro environment right now. To have this sort of like cognitive dissonance of like, to be more clued in as to what's going on with the macro and finance and economics, and seeing that clearly things are going poorly, if not off the rails entirely, but to also have a somewhat optimistic view of the future, to say, yes, things are bad now, but they can get better. Or I want to be a part of a solution, not, more of the problem. I want to help build a world that's more, capable of solving today's problems and things of that nature. By and large, this is what a crypto investor and owner, someone in the crypto space, represents, and sort of the ideals that they hold, which is fascinating. I think that is, speaking, Doc, to your point about sort of that like tribe mentality and the collective consciousness, if you will. This kind of underscores that in a way to say, yeah, sometimes crypto is really wacky. It's clown world. People are doing things that are completely against their own self-interest, and they're buying into hype cycles and just the dumbest stuff. Absolutely guilty of that. But in the same time, there are elements of the space that say, yes, if we promote people to have self-sovereignty, for example, to unbank themselves, or at least know how to be their own bank, this helps them break out of a system, a cycle that is clearly antagonistic to their dreams or hopes or aspirations. The boot on the throat sort of image of like, yeah, you're gonna get 0.01% on your savings account, and you're gonna enjoy it, aren't you? Now give me some fees. It's not the case that we should accept that. We should say that there could be so much better. The fact that there's 2 billion people without access to modern financial services around the world. These are, yes, lofty ambitions, but also very realistic in the context of an increasing trend of technology and the increasing access people have to services like crypto. So anyways, not to belabor the point here, but I think this is something that more often than not is something we have to take just in consideration when you say, yes, sometimes crypto goes off the rails, but at the same time, it's pushing for something that could be better, which isn't always the case of the legacy space, or continues to race to the bottom in a lot of cases. And this is really, really cool. I think this is something that, while we are continually evolving as a space, as an investment class, all that sort of stuff, just learning, and I think growing and like helping people become more savvy for risk on environment, become more self-reliant or self-perpetuating in their agency to navigate these financial markets, and utilize tools and protocols, power, whatever, that lets them survive, if not thrive, in times of uncertainty. So yeah, it is. It's still very much ongoing, but something that is super, super interesting. I've also included this, a couple other reports that I think are pretty interesting, but we probably do need to move along here. This one is digging into sort of like the VC space right now in crypto. And if you want to use this opportunity while the crypto markets are, clearly down and called a bear market or build market, whatever. If you want to use this time to scope out what is going to be the next big thing in crypto, if you want to answer that question, first off, you should be subscribed to ReadySetCrypto and part of our Omnia newsletter service, as well as Doc's ReadySet Trade service. But all that aside, what you should do is you should be paying attention to what the VCs are doing, what those with schnauzers or capital to put aside, the means and methods to really take the time to invest in new companies, new avenues of the space, all this sort of good stuff. I know I'm going through this very fast. I'm sorry. What you should be doing is looking at this and saying, okay, as it relates to DeFi, what are the top VC funding, moves right now? Why is Fidelity Investments and going into Circle? Why is Pantera investing in 0x? Things of that nature. Asking these sort of questions and seeing what is happening just from the trends of funding. So DeFi is down, but so is NFTs, gaming, and metaverse. But that doesn't mean that there's not still a tremendous amount of interest. And the fact that it's down versus last quarter, but like go back a year and look at just the explosive growth that has happened to NFTs, gaming, and metaverse, or do the same thing with Web3, which we've talked about on our stream here as the blossoming sort of like area in crypto right now. Very much undefined. You go out there and you look for articles on Web3, and a lot of them are like, yeah, what is this thing? But that's okay. We're still building it. And it's very much the case that is in a couple of years going to be one of those things that people will say, oh, I wish I had gotten into that sooner. I wish I had paid attention to that more. Definitely something to bear in mind. Speaking of bears, this is a fantastic report from Grayscale regarding bear markets. And it really gives you kind of a historical context and perspective as it relates to, in particular, crypto bear markets. All I'm going to do is show you just the one chart here that I thought was fantastic. Yes, we talked about this about a month ago on stream. Just the fact that there are cycles in the Bitcoin market, it just does this 4-year thing, basically. Here it does 2012 to 2015, 2016 to 2019, and now we're in the next cycle. And as you can see, this lasted about 1,300 days. This lasted, just shy of 1,300 days. And hey, look, we're just shy of 1,200 days here. Maybe this one's going to play out a little bit longer than the previous two, but looks pretty similar. I don't know about you. Looks like there's a pretty common, I would say it's a, absolute, but it is something that definitely pay attention to this. And definitely, again, this is a fantastic report I don't have time for. Same with this one from Binance. They just put out their half-year report, just kind of like a backwards look as to what's going on in the space, what's hot, what's new, all that sort of good stuff. But guys, I have run out of time for at least my end of the segment. I hope you found that somewhat enlightening. Again, if you just tuned in, crypto investors are the most optimistic. Certainly, maybe also a little bit delusional at times, but hey, that's okay. We are in a space that is constantly evolving. You're not maybe early to the crypto space anymore, but you're certainly not late. You're just in time for some like really interesting stuff to happen. I think this decade is going to be very interesting in the crypto space, but that's all from me. I got to take a drink of water. Doc, what's happening from your perspective? What's your take on all that?
Well, if you look at how long NASDAQ took to turn around, it was about 13, 14 years to actually turn around from the actual bubble to when it started to take over the market in terms of profitability and usefulness. I mean, you still look around and what stocks do you think are the ones that people follow? It's not ExxonMobil. It's not, it's going to be the Apples. It's going to be the Netflix. It's Google's. It's Amazon. It's the ones that are changing lives and have been changing lives for the past 15 years. But what crypto is going to do is this will be the next phase of life-changing technology. So sometimes, certainly over, between the years of 2002 and about 2013, which is when things started to really show, like there were so many times where you just sort of like, what's with this technology stuff? Let's just go buy GE stock, things like that. So it was so easy just to take the backwards route with it. But that, you look at some of those stocks now and they're 1/10 their value. So they have been, as some would say, decimated. All right. So let's look over at some charts here and let's make sure this is working. Yep, we're good. Okay. Bitcoin is, we're running in between a stop level of just below 21 up to my target right now is 28. I'm looking for a target of 28 just for a trade. I think the bottom is going to be relatively complex. I think we'll get up to 28. I think we'll come down again. And I think everybody's going to go, oh no, I can't take this anymore. And this is going to be sort of the watershed moment, I think, when we put in that higher low, where you're just going to get so many people, puking out at that point. And what should happen is it should set in that higher low and then take off from there. So it may take a while. It may take a few months for that to show up. I mean, that's exactly what we had to do back in 2020 to get rid of that stupid bear market that went on forever. And, you go back to here, some of these, let's see, where was our bottom? It was down, it was right down in this area, right around here. And then, we based out and then we just took off. And I think we're going to get something really similar to that. I think we're going to get a complex bottom, which is what seems to happen in crypto. Okay, so let me go over to some of your coins here. So some of these are some of the ones that we're tracking here, like Uniswap. I love this one. This looks really good because it's starting to move into what I call a stair-stepping type of movement. Stair-stepping, range expansion, range contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion, right? So the way that we measure that is through the RSI Laguerre and or the chop index with this. And this is so accurate for knowing when we're about to get a breakout for this. I can't imagine trading with anything else at this point. So price action and using the chop index, understanding the fractal energies. So if you don't know anything about that, we have a course on that, or you can just read my book on Amazon for that. So this is one way to look at. I love this pattern. This looks really good. Look for a breakout above 950. Once the energy gets back up there, look for the volume on the breakout. So I'm always talking about volume on breakout. This is what you want to see. That shows that somebody's getting spanked, right? You got to have somebody in pain for price to move. That's the way the markets work. That's Uniswap. Let's see. We got another one here for OP, and we'll do that through Tether. And this is what we call, now, I don't know how long this one has been on Binance, but probably just as long as anything else. But this is what we would call a cup with handle. So this is coming right up to the neckline. Now, this is a little bit low energy for this to support a breakout, I think. So we are starting to see some volume in here, but I don't know that this is going to be able to break above 220. And if it does, it may be likely to fail and fall back down in the pattern if the energy is not high enough. So I would look for really big volume and a breakout above 220, but that's a nice looking cup with handle pattern. Next one is QNT. So don't recall who was listing the or was asking for these, but these all three look really pretty good. So this one's got a really nice breakout level. This is setting up as sort of almost a miniature inverted head and shoulders setting up here. And it's building up energy. And I would say a breakout above 110 should be pretty good. Let's look at the weekly chart here to see what kind of, weekly chart looks pretty good. Now, the only thing I would have a concern about is if you look at this, we're still in this pattern to the downside of lower highs and lower lows on the weekly chart. So we may see this thing come down here first to something like 80 and then do, bust a move to the upside. So keep in mind that may happen either way, but I still like the pattern on the daily chart for a potential breakout above 110. Next one we got here is Sam November X-Ray, SNX. We've got a potential aggressive buy setting up here. At this point, we want to look for a break above this level. This is sort of like a rounded base formation as well, too. We're going to see a lot of these. And the energy is almost at the level that I want to see it at. So we're pretty close to a buy program on this. Okay, next one is the mighty, do we call it even Ripple now anymore, as just XRP? I don't know. I just live in a world of symbols, guys. I would be looking for this to break above maybe 45 cents before I want to get into this one again. 45 cents for me before this bases out. and would attract my capital. STX, Sam Tango X-Ray. Stacks. Let's see what Stacks is doing. Now, Stacks is showing the same pattern I'm seeing in a lot of charts, or the Cardanos and everything like that. This is just a long base that's setting up. It's winding the spring up, winding it tighter and tighter and tighter, and watch the levels. So what you want to do is you want to set up these levels. Just right click, and then you can add an alert at that level and have yourself emailed. So when that level gets hit, you're going to send me an email, give me a pop-up, notifying the app and my mobile. Do whatever you have to do. We can even use a webhook to send yourself, to kick off a program. We've done that before. So this is all, I'd be looking for that on Stacks. Okay, Matic, which is Polygon. Here you are. This one looks pretty good. We're long on this one. We have a stop right around our buy point, which was about 70 cents. So we took the same. Here's a base that was early. This was an earlier base that we took the breakout back here. And so this is what this looks like. This is an earlier coin that did the base. And so this one is also setting up the same kind of like almost inverted head and shoulders pattern or bull flag. If you're not long in this one, look for a break above 1. If this falls back down into the pattern, it's 70 cents. Get rid of it because it's failed. Okay. The coin that has been attributed to MAV, which is Thorchain, is going through the same kind of basing pattern. So I would stay away from this one until it's able to break 390. Next one here is AVAX. What is that? AVAX is what?
Avalanche.
Avalanche, that's right. Okay, this one too is setting up the basing pattern, and I would say maybe around 30 for Avalanche. Maybe around 30. Let's see, what did I have here? Yeah, about 30 is what I have for Avalanche for the breakout from this one. Okay, let's see. We also got just a couple more, and I think there might have been a couple more that have come in here. Chainlink. The mighty Chainlink. There was no greater coin at one point, and now it's been reduced to base building. So I would avoid this one until it's able to get above, say, maybe like $10 or so. Maybe around $10. If you want to know what to do, go over to your Heikin-Ashi candles, set up your Heikin-Ashi, and wait until this. Well, I suppose we do have a couple of green candles here. I just don't. This is still looks so premature, though. Still looks very premature for a buy level. Okay, let's see. EWT. EWT. And then I'll check the list to see if we have anything else coming up. EWT versus US dollar. Also setting up as a base. I mean, we have this long, ugly trend line that's in play for this guy. Long, ugly trend line. Just starting to work itself out of here, but I would wait until $4 on EWT. What's this about complex bottoms? You would have to have children to know this. Okay, MKR. MKR. USDT. Same kind of pattern. I don't see, like, we've looked at some of these, and some of these look awesome, right? So you look at Uniswap, and it looks terrific, right? Because it's already started. It's broken this descending trend line, and it's starting to show this character. Also, the volume's building up in here. So if I look at MKR, we're just not seeing that yet. We're not seeing that transition into a sustained uptrend, which is higher highs and higher lows. So I would wait until this thing, geez, well, it's expensive. It breaks maybe 1,400 or so. And or REN, VREX. Let's see, REN versus USDT. I like this one for a base about 20 cents. This is basing out 20 cents. So it's still premature on this one. So avoid it until it breaks. NRG, and I'll do this versus Tether if you don't mind. I don't like this chart at all. It's not really even setting up a base. It's just sort of in full decline. So I don't sense any structure behind this one that I can get my teeth around. Okay, so there's Chris, and thank you, Phil My Bush. All right, let's see, Rose. Okay, so Rose, what is this one? What's the name? I just know the ticker. This one's known by something else.
Oasis Network.
Oh, that's right, Oasis, yeah.
It's the one named after Ready Player One.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
I had such high hopes for that stuff. We'll see. I think Zuckerberg killed it for now. Okay, I would say for this one is kind of an ugly base, but it may support a breakout. What I do like about this is that the volume has come in pretty well here to drive it up to 10. So to me, this would be the breakout for this base would be 10 cents. Right now, it's not going to happen because it's in exhaustion. So I don't anticipate that, but if it's able to break out, or if it's even able to break out and retest, that might be the first possible entry point of these. And that's what we're covering here is the first possible entry point. So for right now, I would look to sell into strength when you're talking about these things. Sell into strength, go for the swing. Don't look for the absolute bottom because it may be very, very complex. Okay, next one, and that's it. Okay, we are caught up. So thanks everybody for your excellent suggestions. We always get as much out of this session as hopefully you guys get from us. So it's fantastic, having those ears and eyes out there for reconnaissance. So thanks everybody. Mav, you got any final thoughts or any other questions that came in for you?
Well, like this video was entitled about, crypto investors are the most optimistic, but at the same time, we have to be patient and let the markets do what they need to do. And we will get there. It will take some time. It will take some, further pain probably, but in the end, it will be worth it. To say that you were a part of this or that you got in well below where it could eventually go. All of that to say is, thank you so much for being a part of this community. And as always, don't forget to check out some of the links below regarding some of our services, our communities, most of which are free to join. And for the ones that are, subscription, it is, we think, pretty reasonable considering that you get access to our daily newsletter, you get access to our premium Discord room, you get access to a whole suite of courses and research and things of that nature. And we're just constantly looking for ways to provide value and keep you clued in as to where the space is going. And more often than not, we find people value our service is that we are not here to shill you on a certain crap coin or whatever. We're here to tell you like it is, day in and day out. And that's what we'll continue to do. So as always, we appreciate your support and appreciate you being part of this community. And yeah, we just appreciate you. So hang in there. I know the markets are going to do what they're going to do, but we'll still be here and we'll get through this together. But
being always, your beacon of truth out there. That's our
optimistic
job.
Beacon of truth. Yes. But as always, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We'll see you next week. Till then, take care out there. Cheers, guys.
Adios, guys. See ya.